He felt like a ghost in the dating world. Present, but never truly seen. In a room full of people, he was the quiet one in the corner, listening way more than he ever spoke. He saw the easy laughter, the exchanged glances, the effortless way people just seemed to click. And even though he wanted a deep connection more than anything, it felt like women's eyes would just slide right past him. Like he was part of the furniture, part of the scenery, but never part of the story. What he didn't realize was that there are hidden psychological reasons he was so invisible. And once he understood them, once he finally saw the invisible architecture of attraction that was working against him, everything started to change. This isn't just his story. It's the story of so many introverted men who feel like they're shouting into a vacuum. You're right there, you're interested. You have a rich inner world, a deep well of loyalty, and a point of view that's all your own. But in the loud, fast-paced world of modern dating, it feels like those qualities are currencies you can't spend. You watch other men, sometimes men you know have less to offer in a real relationship, grab all the attention, and you're left wondering, what am I doing wrong? Am I just fundamentally broken? The answer is no, you are not broken. You're just running with a different set of psychological software in a world that wasn't built for it. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on that design. We're not talking about cheap tricks or manipulative games. We're not going to tell you to just be more confident or fake it till you make it. Instead, we're going to get into the real psychology of why you feel ignored. We're going to explore the 5 hidden psychological forces that create this feeling of invisibility. Understanding these forces is the first step, not to changing who you are, but to finally being seen for exactly who you are. The first and most obvious reason you feel overlooked comes down to a basic energy mismatch. Modern dating, especially at the start, is all about first impressions, and first impressions are run by energy. Think about where people are supposed to meet: bars, parties, social events, or even the rapid-fire swiping on dating apps. These are all places that reward high energy, easy-to-read signals. Psychologically, we're all wired for cognitive ease. We gravitate toward things that are simple to understand and categorize. An extroverted person naturally broadcasts on a frequency that's loud, clear, and easy for our social brains to tune into. They laugh big, they gesture broadly, they start conversations, and their interest is usually on full display. Their energy screams, "I'm here, I'm open for business, I'm interested." It's a powerful high-frequency signal that cuts right through the noise. Now, think about the introverted man. Your energy isn't gone, it's just different. It's a lower, denser frequency. It's the calm, steady presence in the corner, the thoughtful gaze, the careful listening. This isn't low energy in a bad way, it's calm energy. It signals stability, thoughtfulness, and a lack of neediness. In the right setting, like a deep conversation or a shared quiet moment, this energy is incredibly attractive. But in the chaos of a first impression, that calm energy is often completely misread. It doesn't scream for attention, so it doesn't get any. When a potential partner's brain scans a room for signals of interest and availability, your calm energy can be mistaken for a lot of negative things: boredom, disinterest, arrogance, maybe even sadness. They don't see the rich inner world you have. They see a quiet outside, and because the brain needs to make snap judgments, they label it unavailable or uninterested and just move on. It's like trying to hear a deep bass note in the middle of a rock concert. The note is there, and it's powerful, but it's drowned out by the screaming guitars. Dating apps make this even worse. A profile is just a 2D snapshot. The guy with the photo of him laughing with a huge group of friends is sending a clear, high-energy signal. Your profile, which might have a more thoughtful photo and a bio hinting at deeper interests, requires more effort to figure out. In a world of infinite swiping, many people don't invest that extra second. They're looking for the quickest, easiest sign of social vitality. This isn't a flaw in them or in you. It's just a feature of how initial attraction works in our fast-paced culture. The world is often geared towards extroverts, and the dating scene can feel like its grand stage. The expectation is that men will initiate, and initiation is seen as a high-energy move. When your natural state is observing and processing, not broadcasting, you're already playing on hard mode. You're not being ignored because you lack value. You're being overlooked because your value is broadcast on a frequency most people aren't tuned to during the static of a first meeting. This brings us to a deeper psychological reason: the constant and profound misinterpretation of core introverted traits. It's not just your quiet energy that gets misread. It's the very behaviors that come naturally to you. Things you see as normal, or even good, are often seen by potential partners as red flags. Let's break down the most common ones. First, your thoughtfulness is mistaken for hesitation or a lack of confidence. As an introvert, you process things internally. When you're asked a real question on a date, you don't just blurt out the first thing on your mind. You pause. You reflect. You search for the most honest and accurate answer you can give. In your head, you're showing respect for the question and the person who asked it. But externally, what does that pause look like? To someone used to rapid-fire banter, that silence can be awkward. They might think you're unsure of yourself, socially clumsy, or just not smart enough to have a quick response. The very act of being thoughtful becomes a liability. Second, your quietness is seen as disinterest or arrogance. You're at a bar, and a woman you're into is telling a story. You're not jumping in or trying to one-up her. You're listening intently, taking it all in, appreciating how she tells it. In your mind, you're giving her the rare gift of your full, undivided attention. But to her, especially if she's used to a more back-and-forth conversation style, your silence can feel like a judgment. She might think, he's not laughing, he's not adding anything. He must think my story is boring. Or even worse, he thinks he's too cool for this conversation. Your respectful silence gets misinterpreted as a cold wall of disapproval. Third, and this is a huge one in new relationships, your need for alone time is seen as personal rejection. For an introvert, solitude isn't a punishment, it's a necessity. It's how you recharge your social battery. After a great weekend with someone new, your natural instinct might be to take a day or two for yourself to process and restore your energy. You might not text back as fast, or you might turn down a spontaneous invite. From your perspective, you're just taking care of yourself so you can be fully present next time. But from their side, especially an extrovert who gets energy from being with people, this withdrawal can feel like a slap in the face. Their brain goes, "We had a great time, so why are they pulling away? Did I do something wrong? Are they losing interest?" Your fundamental need for solitude gets translated into their biggest fear: rejection. These misinterpretations create a vicious cycle. You act in a way that's authentic to you. It gets read negatively. The other person pulls back, and you're left confused and unseen, which just makes you more cautious next time. The very traits that make you a potentially amazing partner, your thoughtfulness, your ability to listen, your self-reliance, are the exact things that, when misunderstood, make you invisible. The third psychological force working against you is rooted in evolutionary biology, but it's been put on steroids by modern society. Let's call it the peacocking problem. In the animal kingdom, a peacock fans out his huge, colorful tail to signal his genetic fitness. That tail is a huge burden, it's metabolically expensive, and makes him an easy target for predators. But that's the point. It's a costly, honest signal that says, "Look how strong and healthy I am. I can afford to carry around this beautiful, ridiculous thing." Humans have our own versions of peacocking. From an evolutionary psychology perspective, initial attraction is often driven by loud and clear displays of resources, social status, and genetic fitness. In the past, this might have been a man's physical strength. Today, it's flashy clothes, expensive watches, loud storytelling in a group, a huge social media following, or photos on a yacht. These are all modern-day tail feathers. They're loud, visible, and easy to understand signals designed to grab immediate attention. Studies have shown that extroversion is often associated with higher initial mating success, likely because extroverted behaviors are all about these conspicuous displays. Here's the issue: introverted men aren't natural peacocks. Your strengths are, by definition, not flashy. Loyalty, dependability, a rich inner life, the ability to create a calm and stable home, a deep sense of humor that only comes out one-on-one. You can't exactly fan those out like tail feathers in a crowded bar. They are qualities that have to be discovered over time. They're the contents of a locked treasure chest, not the glittering jewels in a shop window. Modern dating, especially with social media and dating apps, has turned into a digital peacock parade. You're pushed to build a brand, to market yourself, to boil down your entire personality into a few perfect photos and a witty bio. This whole ecosystem favors the performer, the self-promoter. But what's interesting is that recent trends show a shift, with more and more people looking for authenticity and genuine connection over superficial displays. Still, the pressure to appear constantly social and endlessly happy remains, as these are seen as quick signals of high social value. For an introvert, this can feel deeply inauthentic and exhausting. You don't want to be chosen for the feathers you're pretending to have. You want to be chosen for the person you actually are. This creates a huge conflict. You're trying to sell a profound long-form novel in a marketplace that only seems to trade in clickbait headlines. This doesn't mean peacocking is evil or that women are shallow for responding to it. It's a deeply ingrained psychological shortcut. When faced with tons of choices, the brain looks for the loudest, clearest signals of value. It's an efficient, if flawed, filtering tool. For the introverted man, it often means your quiet value gets filtered out in the first round. You feel like you're losing, but you're not. You're just being forced to play a game that is rigged against your natural strengths from the very start. And hey, if this is all starting to hit a little too close to home, take a second to hit that like button. It's a small click, but it helps us know we're on the right track. And more importantly, it helps other men who feel just as invisible find this and realize they're not alone. Now let's get to the next crucial piece of this puzzle. The fourth dynamic at play is one of the introvert's greatest strengths and, at the same time, his biggest dating pitfall: the role of the observer. As an introvert, you have a superpower. While others are busy talking, you're watching and processing. You see the subtle social cues everyone else misses. You notice the person in the group who feels left out. You hear the nuance in a conversation, not just the words. You're a natural-born detective of human behavior. This makes you an incredible listener and, down the line, a deeply empathetic partner. But here's the trap. A detective who only ever observes never solves the case. In dating, if you stay permanently in the passive observer role, you just become part of the background. You're the cameraman, not the actor. By definition, the observer is separate from the action. While that separation gives you clarity, it also makes you invisible to the other players. They don't see you as a potential romantic partner. They see you as part of the audience. The psychological root of this is often a deep fear of getting it wrong. You want to understand a social situation completely before you act. You're waiting for the perfect, witty, insightful thing to say. You're waiting for the perfect moment to join in, but in the fast-moving river of social life, the perfect moment rarely comes. By the time you've analyzed everything and you're ready, the conversation has already moved on. Your desire to be thoughtful means you consistently miss the window of opportunity. This is tied directly to a fear of rejection. By staying in the observer role, you protect yourself. If you don't play, you can't lose. If you don't make a move, you can't be turned down. It's a safe position. The problem is, you also can't win. This tendency can make a potential partner feel like they have to do all the work to pull you into the interaction, which is exhausting. They might see your passivity not as thoughtfulness, but as a total lack of initiative. Imagine you're on a date. The other person is talking, and you're doing what you do best, listening. You're absorbing every word. But you're so focused on analyzing that you forget the other half of communication, signaling your engagement. You're not nodding enough, not giving small verbal cues like hung, or that's interesting, and you're not asking follow-up questions in the moment. To you, you're paying them the highest compliment. To them, it can feel like talking to a brick wall. They get no feedback, no energy in return, and they assume you're not interested. Your superpower of observation, when it's not paired with active participation, creates the very invisibility you're trying to escape. The fifth and final reason is often the deepest and hardest to see. For many introverted men, feeling unseen in dating is an echo of a much older wound, emotional suppression that started in childhood. Think back. For a lot of boys, especially quiet or sensitive ones, the message from a young age was clear: emotions are a liability. Boys don't cry, toughen up, don't be so sensitive. You learn, very early on, that your inner world of feelings is something to be managed, controlled, and ultimately hidden. Expressing sadness, fear, or even too much joy could lead to being made fun of. So you built a wall. You learned to see your emotional reserve not just as a personality trait, but as a shield you needed to survive. This becomes a lifelong habit. As an adult, you might not even be aware of it. You might pride yourself on being logical and unflappable, but the wall is still there. The problem is, a romantic connection is an emotional connection. A potential partner isn't trying to connect with your logic. They're trying to connect with your heart. They're looking for glimpses of your inner world, your passions, your vulnerabilities, your joy. When they look at you, what they often see is that wall. They see a calm, composed exterior, but they can't sense the emotional life behind it because you've become an expert at hiding it. It's like they're trying to read a book, but all the pages are blank. They might ask how you feel about something, and you respond with what you think about it. They're asking for your emotional truth, and you're giving them a logical analysis. This disconnect is incredibly frustrating for them. It makes them feel like they can't get to you, that there's no emotional depth to connect with. They aren't ignoring you. They're bumping up against a lifetime of emotional armor and wrongly concluding there's nothing behind it. This is why you might have had things seem to go well, but then they just fizzle out. The other person might say something like, "I just don't feel a spark," or "I feel like I don't really know you." What they're often saying is, "I cannot access your emotional world." You can't show a partner a part of yourself that you've been trained to hide even from yourself. It creates a profound loneliness, a feeling of being completely misunderstood. You feel ignored because the most essential part of you, your emotional core, has been locked away for so long. You might have forgotten where the key is. So we've looked at the 5 psychological traps: the energy mismatch, the misinterpretation of your traits, the peacocking problem, the observer pitfall, and the echo of emotional suppression. It can feel like the deck is stacked against you. But here's the truth. Understanding these traps is the key to disarming them. This isn't about becoming an extrovert. That's impossible, and you wouldn't want to anyway. This is about learning to translate your introverted nature into a language the dating world can understand. It's about turning every perceived disadvantage into your unique advantage. First, let's reframe your quiet energy. Stop seeing it as low energy. Start seeing it as calm confidence. In a world of anxious, noisy validation seeking, your calm is a sanctuary. It signals that you're a man who is centered and comfortable in his own skin. You're not a firecracker, destined to burn out fast. You're a steady flame, providing warmth and light. The right woman isn't looking for a performer. She's looking for a safe harbor. Your calm energy is that harbor. Own it. Second, to combat the great misinterpretation, you need to learn to narrate your internal world. Since people can't read your mind, give them the subtitles. Don't just be quiet. Explain your quiet. If you pause to think, just say, That's a great question. Let me think about that for a second. That simple sentence transforms you from awkward to thoughtful. If you feel drained at a party, don't just fade away. Say to your date, "Hey, big crowds drain my battery a bit. Would you be up for finding a quieter spot where we can actually talk?" Or just be upfront early on. Saying, "I'm naturally more of an introvert, so I'm much better one-on-one than in big groups," isn't an apology. It's a user manual. It gives them a map to understanding you, turning their confusion into appreciation. Third, forget the peacocking problem. You don't need to be a peacock. You need to be a treasure chest. Your value is immense, but it's hidden. Your job isn't to flash it around, but to create curiosity. Hint at the treasures inside. Instead of a bio that says, "I like movies," say, "I can debate the ending of Blade Runner for hours." Instead of a generic photo, post one of you deep in a hobby you love, whether it's woodworking or hiking. These don't scream for attention, but they invite questions. They create allure. The dating world is also shifting, with a growing appreciation for authenticity and niche interests. You're not trying to attract everyone with flashy feathers. You're trying to attract the one person who is curious enough to want the key. Fourth, you have to evolve from a passive observer to an active listener. Your superpower is observation, so use it to connect. Don't just notice that she mentioned a favorite author. Use that information. Say, "You mentioned earlier you love Jane Austen. What is it about her writing that speaks to you?" This is a game changer. It shows not only that you were listening, but that you were listening to understand. It takes you from being a creepy guy in the corner who just watches people to being a deeply attentive man who truly sees people. Finally, addressing the echo of emotional suppression. This is the deep work. It's not about becoming an emotional mess. It's about learning to grant access. Start small. Acknowledge your own feelings to yourself, then take a small risk. Share a feeling with your date. Not a dramatic confession, just a small window. Instead of, "This restaurant is good," try, "I feel really relaxed here. This is a great vibe." Instead of, "I had a busy week," try, "I felt a little overwhelmed at work this week. So it's really nice to unwind with you." These small acts of emotional vulnerability are the currency of connection. They are what make someone feel like they getting to know the real you, the man behind the wall. The feeling of being ignored isn't a life sentence. It's a symptom of a communication breakdown. It's born from a world that mistakes your quiet for disinterest, your thoughtfulness for hesitation, and your need for space as rejection. It's amplified by a dating culture that often values loud peacocks over hidden treasure, and by the walls you may have built around your own heart. But your introversion is not your weakness. It is the source of your greatest strengths. Your calm is a refuge. Your depth is a wellspring of connection. Your ability to listen is a rare and precious gift. The goal is not to change your nature, but to stop apologizing for it and start using it. To be the calm rock, not the loud firecracker. To narrate your inner world so others can get a glimpse. To be the treasure chest that invites discovery. To be the active listener who makes others feel truly seen. And to bravely share small pieces of your heart, proving there is immense warmth behind that quiet exterior. The world may be built for the loud, but deep, lasting connections are almost always forged in the quiet. It's time to stop feeling like a ghost and start realizing you have the power to be the most solid, present, and captivating man in the room, precisely because you are who you are. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these 5 psychological reasons hit home the hardest? And what's one small step you're going to take this week to turn your quiet nature into a strength? Share your experience in the comments below. Your story might be the one thing someone else needs to read today to finally feel seen.